Hi, everyone. I'm Diana, and I'm sitting here with former police officer Sean Shapiro and current host of Ask a Traffic Cop. And of course, sitting with our very lovely managing partner of Diamond and Diamond, Sandra Ziskind. Today, we're going to be looking at some traffic videos, analyzing them, seeing what kind of charges can be laid, what can be done from an insurance perspective, and basically
learning to be better people.
Yeah, just learning to be better.
Learning to be better.
Some people need some
Let's be better people. Let's be better people. Come on, we can do this.
Here we have a video taking place in Toronto, Ontario. So we have a blue car coming down the median lane and goes to signal left. Oh, red SUV pummels it.
I don't know how hard that was as a hit, but certainly something happened there.
There's a lot going on here. We have the traffic cones. We have a person in the median lane. We have somebody trying to make a left in what looks like an opposite left turning lane.
So I think what's happening is the traffic cones are blocking access to that SO, and everyone's trying to get into that SO or that side street there.
Right.
And so instead of waiting and going around, which they're supposed to do, they're like, okay, we're going to just sort of go this way. And
she's having it.
She's having it. She's not having it. But that red SUV is certainly mostly at fault for this accident.
Sean, who are we charging here?
Oh, definitely the SUV. The red SUV made a left turn into the path of the vehicle. It was their responsibility to ensure that their change of lane or turn could be done safely. Even if you were slowing down to make a left turn on a country road and someone was passing you and you hit them or cause a clear, you're responsible as a left turning driver. You would think that the person passing is at fault.
That seems to be the case here. Sandra, what's going on? Who are we representing here?
So they're both sort of at fault. The blue card shouldn't have been kind of going down that lane because that's not supposed to be a lane that you're traveling in. It's just supposed to be a lane to make left and right turns. Am I right, Sean?
Center lane is for left or right turns. And that person may have been approaching a turn. It's unclear. It doesn't look like they had any real turning intent. They were going pretty quick.
Red SUV you're talking about.
No, we're talking about the blue.
The blue.
We're talking about the blue because they shouldn't be really traveling in that lane. That's just
she does have her left signal. It looks like where that opening is, she's trying to and she doesn't make it.
So they want to go to the same place at the same time, and two things can't exist in the same place at the same time. So that's the issue here. But the one who's more at fault is going to be the red SUV.
Yeah, I would say the red SUV has the majority of the fault here.
One thing is that person gets out in a huff. They're upset because they've been involved at whether it's minor or more collision. It is not a good idea to aggressively approach anyone on the road in Toronto or anywhere because you don't know who's in there and what's going on.
And by the way, getting out aggressively and screaming at them won't fix the car.
This is true.
Boom. This is a standard guy going straight. Somebody basically makes a left-hand turn in front of him. That's easy enough. Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward. The person making the left turn across traffic is the one responsible for that collision. That's the one I would charge. I don't think that the camera car is doing anything wrong at all.
Sandra, easy enough for you then, I guess.
It would be, except that it looks like the camera car is going a little fast. The only thing is if they are speeding, then they are contributorily negligent to the accident.
I sort of thought that this camera car that the video looked sped up, but I might be wrong. They could be speeding.
Yeah.
They're speeding. Is there any instances where somebody is making a left and they're not at fault?
There is times, I know from like a civil culpability, I don't know from your end, but usually the person turning right, Sean, usually is at fault.
Yeah, 99% of the time I would say.
What if it's like a yellow or something, like a yellow light and they're just trying to clear the intersections. They're in the middle, then somebody decides that they're going to blow through the intersection.
So if you've started making the turn, like even at a red light where you're waiting for the red light and it's yellow still, you're waiting to make the left, it turns red, it's your responsibility to clear the intersection. Yeah. People have run that light, you still maintain some of that responsibility making a turn because you've not confirmed it was safe to go.
I will say one thing, and maybe you'll agree with me or disagree with me on this. So I think where you are in the intersection is important. So if you've already cleared the intersection and buddies coming through speeding on the other end and hitting on the tail end, that's the situation where he might be responsible because you've already almost cleared the intersection.
Right. It becomes unreasonable. Their speed is a major factor. They had an obligation to avoid you as opposed to you see a vehicle approaching the intersection, you assume that they're going to stop, and then you pull out into their path and they don't stop.
Where's the line? Mid-vehicle to rear?
I would say like civil, yes. I don't know, criminal.
Well, in terms of highway traffic act charges, we're going to lay the charge likely to both parties, unless it was just a tail end clip. It's all going to be the everything of the situation.
Making a left. Okay, what's happening here? It's a double left?
Well, they made a left.
Onto a highway.
Improper left turn. They went from the second lane into the first lane as they turned.
This is
through
the same.
Oh, okay, they went center to left, and then hammers on his brakes. My biggest pet peeve. Okay, so it's a double left, but
Well,
he's
aside from
reversing away.
that it's assaultive behavior, it looks threatening. I don't know what the words being exchanged are. I should be reading.
Oh my God.
So this is in Texas, so firearms come into play. It gets a little more complicated than what we would be expecting here. The fact that he stopped and prevented other people from or the vehicle from passing, that if it was continued, I'd say it's stunt driving. But that's we're getting into aggressive behavior. We're talking about potentially assaultive behavior.
God. Sandra, what happens when that happens? Because there's a lot of people with road rage, and like they just.
It's really bad, but what you have to also understand is any intentional act can actually vitiate your right to coverage under your insurance. So if you actually assault somebody or hurt somebody, your insurance may not cover you for the claim because that's an intentional act. Insurance is there for negligent acts. They're there for things that happen by accident. So like if I accidentally nudge you down the stairs, I'm at fault. But if I push you down the stairs,
Girl, you're trying to push me down the stairs.
I'm never trying to push you down the stairs. You know I love you. You know I love you. You know I love you. But that's sort of the delineation. So if there was an assault, an intent, you might not be covered under your insurance.
Okay, I have an idea for you though. What if the person's at fault for the accident, and then the person who's not at fault gets out and starts a scrap?
It doesn't matter. The injuries, if the not at fault person starts to scrap and causes injuries, they're at fault for the injuries that come from the assault, and then the whole accident could be not covered by the insurance company.
Auto insurance or what?
Auto insurance.
Okay, so your auto insurance covers you if you start a fight?
Well, no, the collision you're covered, but as soon as you start engaging in criminal behavior, you start beating the crap out of the other person.
Correct.
Now you've engaged in criminal behavior outside of the collision.
Right.
So that you can be sued for person. Let's look at that. Well, there you go. Ooh. Okay.
Oh boy. Okay.
Zoom. Get at it. Oh God.
Oh boy.
Oh.
Oh boy.
Well,
Does he slam on the brakes? Does he slam?
Oh,
He's
yeah.
gonna
There's your
slam
brake.
on the
There's your brake
brakes.
check.
Oh God. I told you that happened to me once on the highway. Some girl was like she was just trying to, and then she goes in front of me. I'm like, I'm just sitting there with my niece and my nephew in the car. I'm not trying to start a fight. And this girl like cuts in front of me, slams on her brakes. And I was like,
well, we see this a lot with insurance fraud where people are trying to cause collisions. I don't think that was the case here. That's to me is a big FU, and that's going to be a stunt driving charge for slamming their brakes for the brake check.
My goodness.
Yes, and again, that's probably one of the only situations where a rear end collision could be the other driver's fault is when you pull in front and slam on the brakes like that.
My favorite word to use with this is dash cam. One word.
Yes.
If you don't have a dash cam, collisions that occur in these situations can very easily result in the wrong person being charged because it's each driver with their own story, and of course they're not going to
like that. And then you're like, aha,
and
I have this.
And I will tell you, so many times we see rear end collisions where the defense is consistently so and so pulled in front of me and slammed on their brakes. That's always the defense. Yes.
Always.
But a dash cam does help.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of dash cams and the importance of having them, let's see. Okay.
So the person's here.
He did it. Slammed on the brakes, takes off, slams on the brakes again. What is this?
Oh.
And then he throws it into
Oh, he reversed right into him.
This classic fake collision. And when you have a clown car with 20 people in it, they're all planning to go and claim injury for insurance fraud.
Okay, so this
and
is
pretending to
straight
be
up-
hurt. This is amazing.
Okay, so they drove up, slammed on the brakes, threw the car, went forward, and
reverse.
threw the car into reverse. This is
So there's actual evidence of collision at this point.
Right.
And now, obviously, there are dynamics in a collision when someone's reversing, where the collision is going to occur, where the two vehicles meet up is going to change. You know,
Right.
when you're in heavy braking, the nose of the vehicle that you're in should dive.
Right.
That wouldn't be the situation here. It's a stopped vehicle. So we would have supporting evidence, but nothing as good as a dash cam.
so. What would you do? What would you do if there was no dash cam in the situation?
You would
Hit the guy for rear ending.
we would investigate. We would take statements, and I'm sure that these are professional bad
Correct.
guys, and it would probably come to light if we didn't already know them.
What's interesting is in these situations from an insurance perspective, the professionals are sort of known to the insurance companies. They know them. They know the usual suspects. They see the multiple claims because insurance companies, people don't know, but they share information amongst themselves and they see when people do multiple claims. But I'm wondering how much of this is like a cash grab. at the scene.
Possible.
Right? Like where you come out and you're like, hey, give me $500 now, I'll go away. Give me $1,000 right now, I'll go away, or you're going to get in trouble. So yeah, I mean, a lot of these things could be just those little cash grab things, because insurance companies are not stupid. They do share information, and there's only so much you can get away with this before the insurance companies are like, no, we know who you are.
But very often, the driver is in on it, but the other people are paid smaller money, and they're picked up from a local place and pulled into a scam. They may not all be known, so it can get interesting. But again, dash cam is the way to go.
Absolutely.
The importance of having a dash cam, people. Okay, so now this is a situation.
Again, Texas. Why always Texas?
Gregory,
is this
it's
just bad drivers in Texas? Oh boy.
Standard issue here. Ask Sandra.
Yes.
Person made a right, came into traffic, and then got rear-ended. What's the other car supposed to do?
Be calm. Yeah, you just move over.
All right.
You want me to call the cops?
It comes out. Oh, are they gonna fight?
LED.
Or flee.
Oh, or flee. Okay.
American collisions are very interesting. Like I Florida a lot, and Florida vehicles are often left at the side of the road to rot. Like it's just a different way of doing things.
In LA too, there was just some a couple of cars.
They break down and leave them there.
Yeah. It's just like okay.
Well, the other thing with the States that we don't have in Canada is there's a lot of uninsured drivers. Mm-hmm. A lot of uninsured drivers.
What's up with that though?
Yeah, a lot of uninsured drivers. So it's a weird sort of dynamic, whereas here almost everybody has coverage. Not everybody has coverage. If you're an innocent party, you're covered no matter what. But
even if you're driving, wait, back up first.
Yes.
Even if you're driving your car, you have no insurance on your car. You're driving.
That's not an innocent party. Okay. If you are driving a car and you are not insured, you're not innocent by virtue of the fact that there's a law that says you need to have insurance and you didn't get insurance.
Right.
So you're not an innocent party, so you wouldn't be covered under.
I got a ticket for that once.
As the owner of the vehicle.
Yeah, I
because the driver of the vehicle who's driving a vehicle they thought was insured may not be in the same situation, so they may find coverage through other means. I'm assuming.
Yes, yeah, 100%. No, Sean is speaking the truth. So let's say Sean comes in the car with me. I'm an idiot. I don't have insurance. Sean assumes I have insurance. Sean gets injured in my vehicle. Sean would still be covered.
And if I borrow a car that's like the charge we lay is permit someone to drive an uninsured vehicle or owner drive a vehicle that's uninsured. But if I lend you the car and I tell you it's insured, you don't know it's not insured.
Right. So as long as you're innocent, as long as you can prove you're innocent and say, hey, I honestly didn't know this car was insured, then you're covered. So if there's no insurance anywhere in sight, there's a fund put together by all the insurance companies. It's called MVAC in Ontario, and they will cover you up to the limits.
The same as normal?
Yeah. It's 200,000 on the tort, and you get the same accident benefits.
Still pretty good.
Yes.
But the owner of that
Just
vehicle.
tricking Sean into your car.
Yeah.
Insured car.
As I always do.
Yes.
The owner of the vehicle, though, they can get charged, and first-time offender, $5,000 to $25,000 and up to 6 months in jail.
6 months in jail?
Up to. Now, I don't see the courts throwing that out there. Every time I've charged someone for drive no insurance or permit, tends to be fines of about $2,500, and unless they're repeat offenders, which there are many of. But the possibility for the courts to put you in jail.
So what should we vote on? 1, 2, 3 strikes, and then you go to jail for the 6 months for not having insurance?
I mean, listen, I'm a big insurance person. I'm the one who has extra. I have the rider. Yeah. So you're talking to the wrong girl because I know where it can go wrong. Can we talk for 1 second just to switch gears? But we're on this topic. One thing that I see a lot, and I don't think there's anything criminal you can do with it, Sean, but it's something that's a problem and we need to talk about it. People go and they register their car in Quebec or out of province to get a cheaper rate because, for example, in Quebec, there's no lawsuits, so it's a cheaper rate on it. However, when they do that now, they've now lost their right to sue when they get into an accident. So they come to me and they're like, well, it's Quebec plates, it's Quebec registered, even though it's a complete lie. First of all, they vitiate their coverage completely. But second of all, they've lost their right to sue.
I look at it from the insurance fraud side of it. Now, would the insurance company side with us? Would they be interested in that? Like I've told insurance companies that this car has been in Ontario for 12 years.
Right.
We've got it. There's nobody going back home. They don't have an address there. It's a P.O. box or a friend's house. And I've had various responses, none of which resulted in them being upset.
This guy had his car. He was registered in Quebec and had the P.O. box to get his insurance coverage.
Yes.
In the case I'm talking about, they were actually registered in the United States. So they were overstays. They were actually deported as a result of my arresting them. They were in the country country as an overstay. The car was insured out of the United States and had been in the country for 12 years. So I called the insurance company. They said, well, they're paying their rates. They've been paying their dues.
Right, yeah, of course, yeah, but because they have the coverage there, but it's just. But then wait, hold on a second. Was there plates Ontario plates or were they United States?
That was a New York plate.
New York plates. Okay.
See, I've
Sandra.
seen situations where they register them in Quebec, and like Sean said, they either have a friend or a family member, so they register them as part of Quebec. Okay, now you get
But they're paying the policy to Quebec, quite like this person was.
they're paying the policy for Quebec, but they're getting a discount because in Quebec there's no lawsuits. You cannot sue.
Yeah.
So what you have is, in terms of the simple stuff, there's a ticket for failing to register your vehicle in Ontario as a resident. So if I can confirm or support that they live in Ontario, whether they're a student, but they live as their primary residence here, then within 60 days, they have to change their driver's license. And within 30 days, they have to register their vehicle. If they haven't done that, $110 fine. That's minimal, though. That's not dealing with the insurance. That's dealing with the vehicle not being registered. And of course, if you have an Ontario registered vehicle, you can't insure it in Quebec, which is provincial insurance.
Correct. And then what happens is they come to us and we're like, you can't sue. You have no lawsuit. So now to save the couple bucks.
Because they still fall under the policy of Quebec.
Correct. So to save the couple bucks now, you're now subject to the laws of Quebec, and God bless you, I can't help you.
But I don't have a lot of sympathy for people who are scamming the
I
system.
agree.
No.
I agree.
No.
I agree. But it's always, and then when they look at me incredulously, I said, you're the one that did this. It wasn't me. You're the one that made this decision.
Cousin Joe told him it was a good idea, so.
Yeah. Cousin Joe
had a
is usually
friend.
Cousin Joe usually is great.
I've heard of people doing it in Brampton, like not Brampton, or registering their car in a different township.
So that's still the same situation. What you're doing is you're falsifying your information to go into a demographic area that is qualifying for lower rates. So if you're in the city of Toronto, they have higher risk, more break-ins, more theft rates, more crashes, whatever the case is, they qualify for lower rates. If you register in the country, you have a cottage and you register there,
right,
you would possibly get a lower rate, but you're scamming the system.
And the problem is, if the insurance company gets wise to it, which they usually do because insurance companies are not stupid, they're sophisticated entities, then you could lose your right to coverage and you could lose your right to sue.
Well,
and it's not that hard to prove these things.
No.
You know, we keep track of you're reporting your mileage. So if you're saying that you're driving from I don't know, cottage country, Muskoka to Toronto every day, but you somehow manage to, there's no way that the time works or your mileage is very low. Like, we're going to figure it out.
Just don't do it. Don't do it.
Just be honest.
All right, let's talk about in the case of parking lot accidents. Sandra, I think you talked about this once. Oh, dang. Okay.
Oh, and then he just runs away.
This is Vaughan Mills.
It says Mississauga, so I'm
Not
going
Vaughan
to
Mills.
assume
That's the clue.
Greg, run it back. I gotta see. Oh my God, poor thing. Okay, so we have. Oh God, he's legitimately could have killed that woman had she been.
Yeah. That's a nice card too. Why are you running? Why are you stupid?
Clearly, I feel like this is a
Might be a
case
stolen
where,
car.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
You know,
security got him.
That brings me back to a collision where I watched a video in 12 Division when I used to work there, and a guy was in the back of his minivan and had both his legs severed off because of that.
I've seen that before too, and
Are you kidding?
Yeah, I've seen that before too.
Because you get the pin, right?
Yeah, when you get pinned in between,
So-
it starts the blood circulation.
I'm gonna say this person doesn't know the power of their vehicle, and they fully just gunned it and went into reverse and was like, "Oop!" Thought they bumped a car and then just like, "I'll take off."
By the way, so you're reversing. That's a mistake. The taking off part, now you can be charged
What
for
do you mean
that.
reversing? That's a mistake. He's reversing at his parking spot.
The collision itself, we could say it's an oopsie-doo. There's no intent.
All right.
At that point,
Oopsie-doo.
it happened. Stick around.
Yeah.
Stay.
Okay.
When you run, and people panic all the time and run, and sometimes it's they come right back and they say, "I'm really sorry, I panicked." You failed to remain at a collision. You have obligations to make sure that that person is okay, to exchange information. There's a whole bunch of charges that I would lay in relation to this.
And I gotta say, like, isn't this one of those cars that probably has a camera behind it? Like a camera, some alertness, obviously.
We're going to say there's no excuse.
There's
literally no
listen.
excuse.
Also, this woman is parked, so there's no when somebody's parked and not moving, there's no contributory negligence. You're 100% at fault to this, but that's why you have insurance. That's why you deal with it. You get out of the car like a human being and say, "Hey, are you okay?"
I can't say the word. I can't say the word, but how is it? Can you sue in that case, Sandra?
Yes, of course.
I thought in parking lots you can't.
Yes, of course you can.
What?
Yes.
They're still responsible for the collision.
Yes, of course.
Is it part of the Highway Traffic Act?
Oddly enough, there's discussion to change whether or not it would be. And the Highway Traffic Act covers certain behaviors on private property, like fail to remain, for instance. But the actual collision, there would be no charges for the collisions under the current rules.
Okay, so you can't
striking a
charge.
vehicle and staying, nothing happens.
Yeah.
Taking off, now we can get you. In fact, I got someone
Sandra
who
likes that.
who backed into, hit an old lady, ran her over.
Oh, God.
And then ran away. And because I had evidence of them on the highway, when I finally got them, I got them for no insurance too. Because had they stayed, there was no issue of insurance. They had no insurance on the vehicle.
Right.
It's a little old lady.
She was banged up, but she was okay.
Listen, just stay. Just stay. Anything, they're
Any
going to
collision.
figure it out anyways. There's cameras everywhere. The police can figure it out. You know, every time I go through this with people, I say, people are not stupid. And in this day and age of technology, they will find you. They will figure it out.
So in parking lots, just like stay put. Even if you did a little oopsie daisy, just
Anywhere.
stay
Anywhere.
put.
You get in a collision,
Yeah.
stay put, call the police if you need the police. If it's a minor collision, trade information, take pictures. But at the end of the day, stay put and accept responsibility. It's always easier and better.
Sometimes it's parents or kids in parents' cars, and they're worried about the consequences of scratching the paint.
My sister
I
did that.
guarantee you,
Sorry.
the outcome of this collision, it was far worse than anything that would have happened from dealing with the actual facts of the matter.
Correct, because it didn't even look like this woman was hurt, just a dent, which
She
is
was
just
probably in
money.
shock a little bit.
Could have been pedal confusion. Maybe they thought they were going to press the brakes and they slipped off onto
Yeah,
the
It happens.
Things
Car.
happen. That's why we have
what's
insurance.
the deal with the person trying to open up the door?
Well,
a little heroic.
Now
for no
that's
reason.
that's another situation, and that whole the heroism
chaotic.
being displayed of someone trying to help and pull the driver out of the car, really bad idea.
Yeah, don't
Not
do
only
that.
could they have been severely injured, it could have escalated. What if that was a person with a gun? I mean, I don't think that was the case, but what if?
We always go to what if they had a gun? It's scaring me.
It's sad that we have to go there, but you never know where things can escalate.
Yeah.
You don't know who you're dealing with. That's why traffic stops are the most dangerous thing in policing. You think people always say, "Oh, the tactical teams that go into these situations with barricaded."
it's like
no,
literally-
those people they plan for that. They train for that. They have all the special stuff. A traffic officer pulling up to a vehicle in the middle of the night, we have no idea what's inside.
Yeah.
And you don't know if somebody's having an episode, if they're manic, if they're okay, if they're not okay. They can be having a psychotic episode. And it doesn't even have to be a gun. It could be a knife. It could be anything. And not only that, they're driving a weapon. So they could turn around and run you over too. Just leave it for, there are trained professionals to deal with this for a reason. Police are trained to deal with these situations for a reason.
Oh, so
You can
don't-
focus
don't
your
bark
efforts.
back.
Take a
No.
picture of the license plate.
Yes.
Focus on the people who may be
Correct.
Right.
All right,
Okay,
let's go next one.
Let's try this one. Road rage, my fave. Okay. What am I looking at here?
Black SUV is a bully. Stay safe, babes. All right.
Okay.
That's the black SUV.
Okay. Oh, he's trying
Moving,
to nudge.
moving,
Oh, he's
moving.
like splitting lanes.
Why?
When I talk about lane splitting, but it usually involves motorcycles.
Yeah, I've never seen it with an SUV before. This is quite a.
Okay, so he's trying to go. It just. Oh,
That's a
whatever,
Ford
put it on the
Expedition. That's a nice truck. What
That's
are you
a big
driving?
truck too.
Yes.
Oh, and I took the shoulder. See? Oh,
No, he's just going after this car. He's
Well, I think
he's
he had
aggravated with this car.
I think he had to yell at them. I think that maybe
oh,
driver
they're
would yell.
definitely yelling. Yeah, we see
having a
aren't
conversation.
yelling.
Yes.
Okay,
This
so
isn't getting by. This is having.
this is one of the scenarios where. What do you do in that case? See, like somebody would get out and have a gun or whatever that make it unsafe, but it's like somebody's literally verbally attacking you and assaulting you on the road, essentially with their weapon, as Sandra likes to call it.
That's what a car is a weapon.
If someone is driving aggressively, if they've got words, let them say the words. Don't escalate things by having a back and forth exchange. Just okay, you're unhappy. Sorry, you had a bad day.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere.
I got used to being like, okay, thanks.
And-
Sorry.
And in a
Sorry.
situation where things could escalate, if they do escalate, you may have to get out of there. You know, if they were to brandish a weapon at that point, things change.
Yo, I had an old man once do this to me. He looked at me through the window and he went like this, like a gun thing to me. And I was like, yo, what's this guy's problem? I was like, that's a person. I was like, I'm scared. So I just continued driving. But he literally did one of these, like a gun shoot. And I was like, oh, that's an interesting one.
So one, dash camera, great, because we can sometimes get license plates, and that's a threat. If you
Yeah.
felt threatened, that's a
It was
that's
very
a threat under
like,
the criminal code.
And he gave me that,
But let's say somebody's behind you and they're being aggressive and they're following you, and you take a right, they make a right, you make a left, they make a left. Now this is a call to 911 or
Yeah.
drive
Yes.
to a police station. Don't go home. Don't
Yes.
go to where you're
Oh,
working.
that's a good tip.
Drive to a police station or a safe place and call police on the way and give them descriptions of the vehicle that's being aggressive towards you. And this is a priority.
Yes.
that's a fantastic tip, actually. Here comes a big U-turn.
Oh.
Okay. We're fine. A little swearing. And he's
Cursing.
not
And he goes into the other guy.
Oh, that was well deserved.
Yes. Yeah. Karma is amazing.
This guy just is like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm not
out.
taking him.
I'm out.
But he that's it. He takes, okay, he gets the F-bombs are going to throw it out and not paying attention. And okay.
I love this video. That's great.
I like how the guy with the dash cam is now going to reverse and get himself out of this situation. He's
Yes.
like, I'm not even going to deal with this. This is you. This is a you
Well,
problem
again, because you're
U-turns.
driving, and I know I love to say it, and you make fun of me, but it's true. But you're driving a weapon.
Oh, a weapon.
And you're driving a
I thought you were gonna say
huge
vitiate again.
vehicle. Yeah, vitiate is my also month favorite. But you're driving a huge weapon. Your job is to stay safe, to stay calm, and be good on the streets, and that's it. And keep your level head together, and don't be an idiot, because this is what happens to you.
What's a safe U-turn?
So I think, and driving instructors have argued with me online, but U-turns are inherently unsafe maneuvers.
Yes.
Sorry, I just picture you going
but
on.
they are.
I argue
But
with
they
everybody. But they'll say the law says if you can do it safely, it's legal as long as it's not prohibited by sign or a couple of places like a railway, a viaduct, a tunnel. There's a bunch of places you cannot make U-turns regardless. Like where there's a curve in the road.
So this guy had the right. He could have made the U-turn.
If it could have been completed safely, which obviously wasn't the case.
Yeah.
He was interfering with traffic. He was doing it from the wrong lane. He went wide and then turned back. So he did a number of things wrong.
Yeah.
The one thing that I might shock you with is I don't think that buddy with the camera car should have taken off. He was party to this. He was indirectly involved.
Yeah.
He was a witness at very least. I think he was obligated to give the other vehicle a copy of that video and his contact information.
Something, yeah, like help out your fellow.
Yeah, just help out your friend.
Yeah.
But and look, and I'll say it too. Like, I'm not the best driver. I'm going to admit it. I'm admitting it. We're having
You are
it's
the
a moment.
greatest
It's a
driver
moment.
there ever was at
It's a
Diamond
moment.
Diamond,
It's a
okay.
moment. It's a moment. But
Greatest lawyer.
I know.
Greatest lawyer,
I
greatest
know
driver.
it's going to take me a second to maneuver my car. I know that I can't do the U-turn in a way that's quick to get out of the way of people.
Yeah.
So you know what? I'm going to turn into a side street. I'm going to turn around. I'm going to figure out a different way to do it so I'm not interfering or bothering people pulling into a driveway or doing something like that. I always do it because I know I'm going to end up blocking sections, aggravating people.
You're gonna do the
I have
Austin
self-awareness.
Powers, Austin Powers
Yes.
17
And you're going to be liable.
Right.
At the end of the day, you're going to be liable.
Right.
If you're doing a U-turn, you are at fault.
Right. So just pull out or pull to the side. Oh boy.
What's happening?
This is what do you call it? A relay. He's got an
funneling
antenna in
the
his
drink
hands.
here?
Yes.
He's got an antenna, and he is trying to take the signal from the keys that are behind the door and convey them to somebody else down by the vehicle who's using a laptop to replicate or repeat the signal so they can use it to open
This
the vehicle.
is why we need turnkey cars again. You unlock with
That's the highest security you can get right now as a turnkey car. It's the hardest to steal, but there's ways of dealing with those as well. Nothing is safe. They don't just go after premium cars; they go after crappy cars too.
Right.
I'm not safe, but there's so much more now. Criminals are so brazen and so or emboldened to steal. They'll kick down your door and come into your house and threaten you with a weapon to get your keys. So you really have to change your perspective. One, do everything you can to reduce your chances of being chosen by these wonderful criminals
Which
by
is
making
how?
it less attractive. If you put a club on the steering wheel so that you've got something that immobilizes the steering wheel, you're making it less attractive. They have to do more work.
Oh, okay.
But that doesn't mean they're going to stop. I've seen people with electric cutters, saws that will go through and cut the metal. It just takes more time.
What
They
is
don't
all this?
care.
What is all this effort in stealing cars? Can I ask? What is this influx?
Money. It's all about money.
Did you see the video of the guy in somewhere in Africa? A car from Ontario is just floating across.
That's not the first time. That happens all the time.
Yes.
We've
Sorry, I
seen-
don't mean to laugh at the owner of that vehicle. It's not funny.
No,
but
but that's what they steal the cars. They end up on a boat or a truck somewhere else.
Sold for
And
big money.
we know a person here at the firm who they found his car at the border, right?
Oh yes, yeah, that was
That
There-
happened.
There was a famous picture.
But that was a heavily serial numbered vehicle that they ended up finding, and I can't imagine any regular Honda Civic or whatever.
There was a pickup truck, and I think it was being used by the Taliban, and it had a gun mounted in the trunk, and bad guys on it, and it had like Joe's Plumbing on the side door.
Oh
and it
my
was from
God.
Ontario. So
Oh
these
my
things
God.
happen.
And now Joe's Plumbing is a
But
side with this
here's a really
thing.
important thing. Because they're willing to come into the house, they're willing to beat you up to get your stuff. Police have said in the past, leave your keys at the front door. If they're willing to kick the door in, to come inside, let them get the keys and leave with your car.
Yeah.
Not terrorize your family. And
Did you see that couple recently?
And to be clear, which chief was it, Dimq or Reimer that got got a lot of feedback from saying that. He doesn't mean leave them outside for football. I think he got a lot of feedback, but
and leave them with cookies.
Yeah,
somebody's like, yeah.
The point is, a car is insurable and the car is replaceable. Your life is not. So just make it as easy as possible. If you're going to do it anyways, let the keys be at the front. Let them not walk through your house to go look for you.
It's about harm reduction, not theft.
Correct.
But that couple, did you not see recently that
100%.
couple, that gentleman, they didn't show their face.
They left without anything. He had his arm slashed heavily. He has to have surgery to reconstruct and reconnect the tendons. He had, his wife was pulled out of bed at what believed to be gunpoint, according to her testimony.
And they had those, what are they called, boulders at the end of their driveway to prevent them from stealing. These guys still were like
willing
motivated to try.
Sure, because in the past you go and rough somebody up, you get their keys, they open it up, and flash a gun or threaten,
I guess to intimidate them. What are those things called? Those things. Boulders or something? Sandra, do you have one? You need one.
I don't have one. I don't know if I need one. I keep my car in the garage. I'm lucky enough to have a garage.
It's good not to advertise what you got.
I'm lucky enough to have a garage, so I keep my car in the garage and I keep the garage closed at night. So it's a little bit more difficult. It would be a little bit more, not impossible, more difficult, but I'm not going to say where I leave my keys.
Well,
so for safety purposes, though, like your best advice is just like leave the keys at the front or near an entrance.
It's not that you have to put a sign with LED lights flashing.
Yes,
but you want to give them the opportunity.
Feel me here.
If they're going to do it. Not all criminals have the ability or willingness to go in, and now packs of kids are going in together. It's very scary. Yeah. But if they're going to come in, grab the easy peasy, get out the door, don't hurt you. I watched a video where a chap was saying his daughter had a gun pointed to her head while they demanded the keys. These things are getting worse.
Yes. Yeah. And they're getting more brazen.
Sandra, can I ask you a question? This couple that was recently attacked or whatever, what do they do? Does their home insurance cover the damages that happen? Their auto insurance?
It's a combination, I would say.
It's a combination of both. Because
I don't think those guys got away with the car.
They got nothing.
They just beat up this poor couple.
But look, there's no lawsuit per se. So all it is we're in Canada.
The loss of the damaged doors and
the damaged doors goes to your house insurance. Yeah. Your injuries, it's Canada.
As a victim of crime, they could apply for some compensation, but
it's very little. Through the Criminal Compensation Board, it's very small amounts of money.
And they don't even know who did it. They don't have
there's nobody to sue in these situations. It's just a horrible, horrible situation.
It's actually getting out of control.
Cameras, good lighting, again, things to make your house less attractive, whether it be bars on windows or coatings on film on the glass to make it harder to break in.
Dogs
are the best. Even if it's a Chihuahua, it's noisy.
Dogs like Chihuahua. They are aggressive.
I don't like Chihuahuas. Not a Chihuahua. But those are the best form of defense because nobody wants to deal with a dog.
Okay, so. This is a police officer. That's quite the sniper rifle there.
Well, that's not a sniper rifle. The police will pay for that. They're responsible for it. They did what they had to do because of the situation, and they will make good on that.
Absolutely.
They'll just the police.
We knock down doors. We replace doors. We will do it, especially when.
You know what I want to ask you then? When police officers be like, "Get out of the car! I need your car." They commandeer a vehicle.
Commandeering the vehicle, although.
And then they cause
it happens a lot in movies. I'm not certain it happens a lot in real life, but it happens a lot in movies.
It'd be a little bit cool if it did. I'm just saying.
I don't fit into most of the cars on the road, so I couldn't commandeer anything when I was on the job.
The cop runs out of a bush, like, give me your car right now. Then you're like, okay. Then,
I would say it would be justified, that it could happen, that would be lawful to do it, but we wouldn't do it. It was really not happening.
It's really just, that's sort of a movie
So that's not a thing. I'm wondering, like, when they call the Uber, like, can you charge it to them?
No, can you imagine? Like, I'm going to commandeer that Ferrari.
No, I would say that would be a very complicated conversation with the chief.
Yes. The chief, you would have to really justify
literally
why you
just
need to
watch a
commandeer
movie over the weekend where they did that. I'm like, and this woman was left in the middle of the highway now.
And I do want to say this on behalf of police officers and their actions. They are held to a standard. So there is a review process for everything that they do. And to be clear, every time they draw their gun, they have to file a report and it has to be reviewed. So in Ontario, at least, I don't think I'm speaking out of turn. Yeah, any use of force, they're really, really watched. So it's not, I don't think it's as much in the US, but certainly here.
I would say that policing, especially in Canada, and I can't speak to US laws or regulations, we're the most scrutinized industry, period, more than lawyers, doctors, everyone combined. Everything we do are internally, we're investigated by our internal processes, our supervisors, the public, and a watchdog organization. If we've done something wrong, we're going to be, and that's one of the reasons I love body cameras, because it deals with so many of the allegations. When people who are being arrested say we do bad things, or
you have it all. It's
all
right there.
It's like a dash cam for cops.
And it's not saying that police officers don't do bad things from time to time.
always get a bad look about it,
However, this is a job. It is a profession, and they're trained to deal with things and trained to deal with situations. So that's why the body cam footage definitely helps.
I had a professor once who basically summed it up perfectly. He's like, people want to hate on the police, they want to do whatever, but if you're in a bad neighborhood or a bad situation, how relieved are you when the police show up?
100%.
And that was the be all end all of the argument. It's like,
there's
you're
always
in danger. You see a cop roll up, and you're like, okay, I feel safe now because you're in the right.
And bad apples should be dealt with and should be put out just like in every profession.
Of course.
But certainly the body cam footage helps.
There is nobody who hates a bad cop more than a good cop.
Correct.
Yeah.
We want them. We don't want bad
exactly.
cops wearing our uniform.
Correct.
They make us look bad.
Median lane again. Trying to
pull in.
So this, despite the way it looks, is not a drag race.
Oh God.
It looks like a drag race in a minivan, because God knows when you get a minivan, the first thing that comes to mind is how can I race and go fast?
Well,
You know what?
I learned something.
What's on the road, man?
In the comments on this TikTok video, someone said that both vehicles have the same engine. So I didn't know that. They're both Toyotas. I had no idea.
Checks out. Okay, yeah.
But what happens is the sedan makes a left turn onto Bathurst southbound, and the white minivan is not dealing with it. They do not want to let this person in.
No business there.
They could have let them in. They weren't.
Of course they could have.
No, but there's people.
Of course
in front
they could
them.
have.
Red light situation. There's so many things happening here.
It would have been so easy. Instead, what they did is they hammered down on the gas. They accelerated to prevent them from getting in the lane, and then to the point where they had to swerve into my lane to avoid a collision.
It could have caused a much
Did you
larger.
I did not swerve.
No, but it could have caused a horrible, much worse reaction than it did.
For sure.
And it could have caused a chain reaction of collisions. And minivan, who hurt you?
Yeah.
Who
really.
hurt you?
Because for me, silver sedan simply trying to like enter into traffic at a nice flow of traffic,
But
right?
not-
Like that's the vibe I'm getting here.
And they weren't perfect. You know, they could have done things better. A lot of people upset that they were in the center lane, and that's not a merge lane. It's not. They could both be charged for their part in it. However, stunt driving charges for the van driver is what would be eligible, or they'd be eligible for. It could even go criminal dangerous if it would have been.
He's revving. He's trying to.
It's stunting because he's actively preventing someone from changing lanes, from getting over, and that's what's specifically written.
Stunt driving isn't just 50 over. It's all the fun stuff.
No, but you have to
Everything.
remember that we have a duty to share the roads with people. That is part of our duty and responsibility. It's a social responsibility. Share the roads, people.
I think people seem to forget.
Share
that
the
there's
roads,
other
people.
on the roadway.
Correct.
All right, everyone, you heard it from a former police officer and a lawyer in personal injury. Couple of things to keep in mind. Maybe it's a good idea to have some dash cams. Be safe on the road, guys. Share the road with other drivers. Sure. We're not in a rush to get anywhere. Just slow down, share the space. And third, when safe, to get out of your vehicle and exchange information with another driver or the other vehicle that was involved in the accident. That's all well and good. But don't get out there. Don't be aggressive. Don't be confrontational, because we don't know what people have in their vehicles. We don't know what kind of aggression they're going to take out on you. Be safe. More importantly, be safe.